Let me ask you a tough question, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Have you ever felt like people are pulling away from you, like they stop showing up, emotionally, physically, or even professionally? And you start wondering, why does this keep happening to me? Let me stop you right there. This isn't about what's happening to you. It's about what's happening through you, because the hard truth is, you might be attracting avoidance. Not because you want to, but because you haven't yet understood the role you're playing in the pattern. And today we're going to rip the curtain off, not to blame, but to take your power back. People respond to more than your words. They respond to your presence. Your energy walks into the room before you do, and whether you realize it or not, you're constantly broadcasting a frequency. That frequency is either attracting connection or it's repelling it. It's either welcoming people in or silently pushing them away. So many of us try to fix our relationships by choosing the right words, sending the perfect text, having the talk. But it doesn't matter how well you script it if your energy is screaming fear, insecurity, or pressure. People are wired to sense that. We're intuitive beings. We can feel when someone is coming at us with a hidden agenda, with unresolved pain, with emotional intensity that isn't rooted in confidence, but in lack. And when people feel that pressure, when they sense that your emotional state depends on their response, they back away, they disconnect, they avoid. Now listen, this isn't about becoming fake or emotionless. This isn't about shutting down, it's about being aware. Because if you carry unresolved wounds into your interactions, fear of abandonment, chronic need for approval, the need to be right, or a silent demand to be reassured, it leaks out. You may be saying all the right things, but people feel the wrong energy underneath. Think about it. Have you ever walked into a room and just felt tension? No one said a word. No one did anything obvious. But you could feel it. That's energy, and you're giving it off all the time. So the question becomes, what's your energy inviting? If your presence carries openness, groundedness, curiosity, and self-trust, people feel safe. They feel free. They feel like they can be themselves around you. That's attractive. That creates magnetism. But if your presence carries tightness, reactivity, silent demands, or emotional volatility, even if you're trying to hold it together, that's repelling. Not because people are bad or broken, but because everyone is looking for relief, not another weight to carry. Most of us were never taught to take responsibility for the energy we bring into a space. We were taught to focus on appearances, on words, on behaviors. But if you truly want to stop attracting avoidance, you've got to look at the emotional signature you carry, because energy doesn't lie. And what you send out is what comes back to you. Avoidance feels like rejection. It stings. It makes your mind race with questions. Did I do something wrong? Why are they distant? Why won't they just talk to me? The emotional sting is real, and it can leave you feeling invisible, abandoned, or not enough. But here's what most people never stop to realize. Avoidance isn't always a message from them. It's often a reflection of you. Let me be clear. This isn't about blame. This is about radical awareness. When someone pulls away, when they ghost you, shut down, or dodge hard conversations, the instinct is to point the finger outward. They don't know how to communicate. They can't handle intimacy. They're emotionally unavailable. Maybe that's true, but what if, just what if, they're responding to an energy that you haven't fully owned yet? Avoidance is often a mirror, not a punishment, not a rejection, but a mirror showing you something you are avoiding within yourself, that anxious part of you that craves constant validation, that resentful voice you keep stuffing down instead of expressing. That part of you that's afraid to be alone, and so you cling. Gently, politely, but still cling. When people sense that you're avoiding your own truth, your own fears, your own unresolved emotions, they instinctively back away. Not consciously, not maliciously, but emotionally they retreat, Why? Because the energy is heavy, it's unclear, it's asking them to carry something that you haven't yet dealt with yourself, and this is powerful. The people who avoid you might actually be giving you a gift. Their distance is feedback, not feedback about your worth, but feedback about your patterns. You see, life is constantly showing you where you're out of alignment. If someone pulls away every time you get anxious, it's not just their discomfort. It's a signal that there's something inside you asking to be looked at, healed, owned. If you avoid setting boundaries, you'll attract people who cross them. If you avoid being direct, you'll attract people who are vague. If you avoid facing your need for external validation, you'll attract people who never give it to you consistently. So instead of asking, "Why are they avoiding me?" ask, "What within myself have I been avoiding?" Because the minute you face that, you start changing the entire dynamic. You take your power back, and you stop playing out the same loop with different people. There's a word most people run from because they confuse it with blame, responsibility. But let's get something straight. Responsibility is not blame. Blame is disempowering. It says it's your fault, or even worse, it's my fault, so I must be broken. Responsibility is completely different. Responsibility is power. It says, I have the ability to respond, I have influence, I have a say in how this goes. And the moment you truly take responsibility for your role in a pattern, you break free from it. When people avoid you, it's easy to spiral into stories of "people always leave me," "no one wants to deal with me," "they can't handle my truth." But the truth is often more layered than that. It's not that people can't handle you. It's that they're responding to a version of you that's on autopilot, a version of you that hasn't paused to ask, "How am I contributing to this?" That question doesn't come from self-blame. It comes from self-leadership, because the moment you realize that you are the common denominator in your repeated experiences, you don't collapse, you rise. You stop waiting for other people to show up differently, and you decide to be the one who shifts the energy in the room. You decide to show up as someone who doesn't need to chase or control to feel secure. Someone who's emotionally responsible. Someone who understands that real connection only happens when you're fully connected to yourself first. That's the gateway to emotional freedom. Responsibility gives you options. It gives you tools. You can shift your tone. You can regulate your nervous system. You can catch your old triggers in the moment and choose a new response. That's where your power lies. Not in trying to fix other people, not in hoping they change, but in mastering your emotional state. When you live in that place, when you stop outsourcing your sense of safety to other people, you become magnetic. People stop avoiding you because they don't feel manipulated, pushed, or energetically pulled. They feel free, and that's what draws people closer, freedom. So yes, it hurts when people avoid you, but responsibility says, I won't stay stuck in pain. I'll learn, I'll shift, I'll lead. That's how cycles end, not when others finally get it, but when you do. So now we've pulled back the curtain. We've exposed something most people live their entire lives never seeing, that what you're experiencing from others, especially avoidance, is often a direct reflection of what you're emitting, allowing, and avoiding within yourself. That truth might sting at first, but it's not meant to shame you. It's meant to wake you up, because when you finally realize you're not just a participant in the patterns of your life, but the source of many of them, you no longer have to stay stuck. You no longer have to wait for permission to be free. You've learned that your energy is the invisible invitation. It's not about performing or people, pleasing or trying to control outcomes through words. It's about becoming so aligned with your own truth, so anchored in your presence, that others naturally feel safe, inspired, and open in your space. the version of you who feels desperate for attention or approval. That version isn't bad, it's just outdated. It was built to survive, but you're here now to lead, to elevate, to become someone who draws people in not by chasing them, but by standing so powerfully in authenticity that connection becomes effortless. And you now understand that the people who avoid you aren't enemies or villains. They're feedback, they're messengers, they're mirrors reflecting back the parts of you that are still waiting for your own attention. That's not rejection, it's revelation, and it takes courage to turn inward, to look honestly at what you've been suppressing, denying, or abandoning in yourself. But when you do, you stop asking, "Why are they pulling away?" and start asking, "What am I finally ready to face in me?" That's transformation, that's growth, and that's when your life starts changing for real. And most of all, you've now taken back the one thing you've always had, but maybe forgot how to use: your power. The power to respond instead of react. The power to lead instead of chase. The power to hold space for discomfort without making it someone else's job to fix. That kind of responsibility is rare, but it's the foundation of all healthy relationship, starting with the one you have with yourself. And once you master that, you stop attracting avoidance, because you're no longer avoiding you. So here's the truth: you are not broken, you are not unworthy, you're not too much or not enough. You are powerful. And the minute you decide to fully own that power, not from ego, but from truth, you become unstoppable. This isn't just about relationships. This is about how you show up in every room, every interaction, every moment. It's not about waiting for others to validate you. It's about becoming so rooted in who you are that people either rise to meet you or fall away, and that's okay, because you're no longer trying to attract anyone. You're simply being someone worth staying connected to. Thank you for taking the time to dive deep with me today. If this message stirred something in you, if it made you pause, reflect, or even get a little uncomfortable, good. That means it's working. That means something inside you is waking up. You deserve real connection, but it starts with radical ownership and self-honesty. Remember, the power to shift any pattern isn't out there. It's in you, always has been. If this resonated, share it with someone who might need it, and don't forget to revisit it when those old patterns try to sneak back in. Until next time, take your power back, own your truth, and show up like someone who's already enough. Thank you. I appreciate you, and goodbye for now.